We are live again. As you guys know and have seen in the last 4 or 5 days, I'm Shane, the DM. I am the DM of the Kronos and Kin podcast, and we're finally got the TikTok studio stuff going. I'm just moving some stuff out of my way. So kind of this one, we had a team meeting today, had to go over some interesting things happening with our channel, and then it's like, okay, we wanted to go live and introduce you guys more to the characters themselves. We don't have any viewers yet, so we're just going to talk amongst ourselves. The main thing is, so Session 0 has been live for about a week now. How'd you guys feel it went?
I enjoyed it.
I had fun. I had a lot of fun.
It's new. So, I mean, like,
Yeah.
just being in character and talking to each other and stuff is...
Well, and we're also, everyone here is fairly new to, 5e D&D, right? Tim, you said you played it when you were...
You played one ED&D.
Yeah, he played it when you rolled...
I played D&D 86.
Right. Right.
Where you and your friends just created a board out of, here's a Lego tower.
Oh, we didn't even...
Out
we
of
didn't
their
even,
imagination.
We didn't have a playboard or anything like that. It was basically just, I'm going to go attack this. I'm going to go attack this.
Right. Am I close enough to move here and attack
Right.
type things? Yeah.
Yep. We didn't have a playboard. We didn't have miniatures. We didn't have anything like that. We had beers in hand and laughter and
Nice.
Yeah.
Good
all
times.
that. Yeah,
Nice.
it was great.
Whitney, how'd you think you did?
Okay, I guess. It was interesting. Staying in character is a little hard
Yeah.
because you have to think. It's like, okay, I know what I would do, but my character probably would not. So it's kind of like a psychological trip.
Yeah. I think you did good
Oh, thank
with
you.
your character. Yeah.
Yeah, so I re-listened to the on Spotify at Kronos and Kin. I listened to the session, first part of the session in bits last night, and my favorite parts were the interactions with lady, because everybody had like this moment with the pushy lady, and so she's definitely gonna stick around. I like her.
If I didn't want this campaign to go, I would have attacked her that day.
Hey, Kylan, how you doing? Thank you for joining. We're just going over our session. We got some awesome... Thanks for leaving.
Maybe not call everyone out immediately.
Right.
Some people like being anonymous.
Got called
Well,
out.
it told me to say hi. I said hi. I'm just doing what the TikTok told me.
You're letting AI tell you what to do?
Son of a gun.
Gosh darn it.
No.
But
That's
so,
how Skynet happens.
yeah, no, I knew that there was a chance that she was going to annoy you when I put that part in, and that's why I added the I will call the guards, because I was planning someone to do something stupid and be like, hey, these challenge rating 15 guards are definitely here now to quell this, which means one hit and we're in death saving throw. So
No, one hit, we're past death saves. I think, well, maybe I could survive.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys could.
He's so
Yeah.
confident about his character.
Well, it's the amount of HP I have. So in death saves, you go to death saves if you don't take your max HP plus your max HP in the negative. So my max HP is like 42. You take that, I had to take 84 damage in a single hit to just not have death saves.
To go straight to permanently dead.
Permanent death. That's permanent death.
So 2 guards.
Yeah, 2 guards. Exactly. 2
Two
hits.
guards.
Well, I can rage and take half damage.
Okay.
So I can take half damage and, 3 hits. 3 hits.
that's if you rolled high enough in the in initiative to take.
Yeah, I have to
Rage.
get. Well, I mean,
Because level 15 challenge rating, those guys were,
well, it's all based on dexterity too.
yeah.
And
You think I wasn't going to roll high stats for my guards if you did some dumb shit?
Yeah.
So she pushed you because you wanted to do something, and I pretty much told you no.
Yep.
How did you feel about them not caring about the guard outside, or the Claude, the guy standing outside?
Well, I don't know if it's that they don't care. I think.
No,
they're-
I was because she's the one that cared.
I care.
You
You
care.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she tried to get him like medical attention.
All the dudes were like, "Yeah, hey,
Yeah.
It's fine.
We just see it in the-
Dehydrated man, let me open the door
Yeah.
for me."
Yeah.
So I personally was just like, oh, all these people, they're all dying, and no one cares.
Yeah, they're all
So-
sick.
Yep.
Well, because in my character, like, she comes from a village, and it's all like, family oriented. You take care of each other, and then you see this giant village,
Right.
and they're horrible looking. It's like,
Yeah, this
Okay.
place is definitely not a welcoming. It's a big city where everyone feels the pressures of life on them, right?
Right.
And
Well, there's
so-
also some
there's-
other stuff that's going on too, because
Yeah.
like as we saw, there are characters that if you just push right far enough, they actually show themselves, but then they have to slip back into this like, oh,
I'm being watched.
I'm being
Right.
watched. I need to step back into this like
Yeah.
hi,
You're
I
right.
am actually really friendly.
Right.
Yeah. What did you think about Claude being outside the hotel tavern when you got back?
I didn't think anybody was going to be. I mean, if I didn't see any guards or anything like that,
Yep.
I thought I was pretty much secure. And then to sneak around and all this,
Yep.
and then to be greeted by this guy, and only you have no idea what his true prowess is. He
Right.
might have been a warlock or a mage. Claude the
And then
Gray
just
or
calmly
Claude the
telling
White.
you should
Yeah.
probably get some rest.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't fear him, but definitely knew that there was a respect that should be given,
Right.
so that the damage wasn't taken.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And it's also possible that while Claude might not do anything, Claude can communicate with people that can do something, and that
Right.
wouldn't end well.
Right. Yeah. Your
Yeah.
employer. Obviously, his employer trusts him enough to be the person spotting you guys and bringing you in for the meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
And I imagine Joffrey, even though he's like their boss, I'm imagining like there is something behind him, that there's power, and he's collecting these relics for a reason. So
Right.
is he a wizard, a warlock, a priest, a deity, a demigod, a archdevil? There's something.
Something fishy going on.
Yeah.
Tiny little
Yeah.
guy behind the veil.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Literally
Don't
just
pay
like
no
the Wizard of
attention to
Oz,
the
right?
man
Just
behind
a
the
big
curtain.
Just like
guy.
a little gnome behind the veil. Hi guys.
Yeah.
Right.
It's me, Mario.
a Wizard of Oz moment.
Yeah.
What did you think, Huldra, as you came into the city? One, like, this technology isn't necessarily anything outside of your realm, but it's a whole city ran on
Yeah.
gas-powered lighting and stuff like that. But to see your invention being used as the main gate into the vault, what did Huldra feel at that moment?
Well, based off a bit before the campaign even started, the letter that I got from Joffrey was already I was debating on even being a part of it. So,
Right.
but he started talking about relics and stuff, and I knew, we've, according to your lore, we've had interactions before.
Right.
So,
Not necessarily face to face. You've never met Joffrey.
yeah,
You've either had communications through his mass network
Mhm.
of
I
people
knew-
and
I knew of
employees,
him
or
from over the
through
years
a
and
vision,
just kind of-
visage like the skull.
but I knew I know of him. I kind of know to the extent of kind of his reach.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't necessarily expecting to see something from a whole nother part of the world.
And a part of your life.
Yeah, and from a part of my past to be the first thing that I come across.
Right.
So, it's a little miffed that I'm already seeing stuff that I know shouldn't be places that I built for a specific reason.
Right. Potential
now.
destruction here to gain
Yeah.
this.
You're Nikola Tesla. This is Thomas Edison.
Right.
Kind of.
Okay,
But-
so each of you kind of had this experience with him. He kind of individually talked to each of you in session 0, right? Like, after he gave you the manifest, the tasks that need to be done in Reldrain, don't lose the party like you lost your fellow military. Don't make mistakes that will cause great harm with an invention.
Yep.
Wondering how you are so healthy after the miasma that affected you on your last mission. and whispering monks and monasteries. What do you feel? What do you guys individually feel about him knowing so much?
I would say it's off-putting, and I didn't like how he wanted us there for a meeting, and he didn't even do us the courtesy to show up in person. It's almost like a cowardice act. So, and just the way he met us, it really
It also-
shows his character, like the character of like his nature.
Yeah, it kind of shows like what was mentioned by Halder's character was that it's almost like he's a deity, because to have the kind of reach that he has means he's reaching every part of the world, because our characters all come from different parts, we're not all based around, the city. We're all, my character's from here, your character's from here, yours is from here, yours is from here, so yeah, it's
Like-
interesting that he can know so much.
So the reasons I'm here, and he knows it, I'm wondering why he kept me. Like,
Right.
There's this like, he's obviously not fearful of us,
Right.
and doesn't care about the reasons that we're here. He wants us to provide a service for him, and he's probably taken precautions to shield whatever he has from each one of our individual reasons for being here.
Right.
So,
For now.
yeah.
Don't open the box.
But
Yeah.
at the
Don't
same
open
time,
the
he
box.
sends
I
all
am-
these different teams out.
Yeah.
So we're not the only ones. I'm
Yeah.
sure. He
Yeah,
knows.
your team 17, I think I said.
Okay.
So your relic acquisition team 17.
And I also, from session 0, just as an off thing, we missed a few opportunities to explore the storyline.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a big one you guys missed. I know what Tim's calling out. What do you guys think Tim thinks that you missed a real big opportunity on in session 0?
Walking to the tavern.
No, the initial thing we missed was when we all were down there. We had time to explore that little area.
Yep.
And didn't do anything.
What was in
Close.
that room though?
Yeah.
There was a
That
box.
there was a
That-
cask
that-
sitting
we-
on the table that was
we-
chained and bound. Yep.
Yeah. We missed an opportunity to have a fight.
Well, and that also kind of ties back to what was said earlier, is that we're all fairly new. I mean, the
Yeah.
only D&D experience that I had is from Baldur's Gate, and it's so vastly different to the actual mechanics.
Sure.
So
But, that cast could have been a mimic.
Yeah. Yes.
It could have been literally anything, and you guys will never know.
Yeah.
it's the key to the vault of whatever.
It could have been me starting a new character.
Yeah. It also could have been you starting a new character. Yeah.
Well, I did a perception check to see if there's anything magical in the room. So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be magical to be important, but
Right.
it didn't.
Well,
really,
but also if it's sealed and bound, is your perception for the magical going to necessarily see it? If it's chained and bound and sealed, there's a reason why it's chained and bound and
Yeah.
sealed.
Well, and also like
And
you
it's
me-
I remember specifically saying it was made of an alloy none of you recognized.
and it also could have been a case of like, yeah, you might have sensed the magic, but all you sensed is the magic from this box. But it could have been the box itself too.
Could have been
Yeah.
a lock glyph or a
Yeah.
protection
Something
spell. Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's the great thing about us all being new is we can have these conversations like you guys missed an opportunity.
Yeah.
And I dangled that carrot right
Yeah.
there. It's like, this room is empty. The only thing in here is a statue, a table, and a box that's chained.
yeah.
I ain't touching it.
Well, start over.
Right. Yep. No.
At the end, it's like, okay, so now in session 1, we're gonna have new characters and have a new session 0.
So moving into session 1 a little bit. What are you guys thinking? You guys have to travel around right now. I know I've spoken with each of you, but like I'm trying to force that. I hate using the word force, but it's kind of what I'm trying to do, is force that more immersed role play. Right? I said at the beginning of session 0, none of you guys you're here on this realm anymore. You are now Buchaka, Alana, Haldra, and Grunin.
Yeah.
And just get into that mentality. So like Grunin, I tasked Andrew with, I want him on his map to look over his map. I want a route. I want to know which way, because he was tasked with leading you guys to the objective. I want him to provide me with the route he's taking. Not because I want him to do more work, but because Grunin, as the military leader, would be standing in front of the maps going, we need to go here, this is a safer route, all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I kind of spoke back and forth.
There's like
with
a
him.
side alleys down this road. This is more main
Right.
direct in the front of people, or less.
Well, it's
like
not
need
even
to
just like
jump.
in the city. It's literally,
Well, yeah.
you know, from where we're at to where we got to go, talking about going through the canyons, going down the roads. It's a very busy
Right.
traveled road. Do we stay on the road or do we go off the beaten path a little bit?
Spam
Hey,
calls.
we've got families, so stuff like this.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily gonna silence my phone either.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's-
that's fine.
I've got kids and
Yep.
stuff too, so I need to know if I need to.
But it's just one of those things where I've got to get us to where we got to go as a character safely.
Right.
You know, because I'll tell them what we're going to run into. And I mean, I spoke with Shane a little bit, and he kind of said, well, this is what you would know as your character. So
Right. And one of the options he has to weigh is go to the river, take a little bit longer route to go past these big foothills,
Right.
or do you go straight through the middle of the foothills where literally behind every corner could be danger? What risk is he willing to put the team through?
Right.
What risk are you willing to be allowed to put through? So those are the kind of immersion things we're thinking of and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so like random encounters happen in D&D, stuff like that. I've pre-planned my random encounters. I have a list of ones I'm going through just so it's not so much on the spot kind of stuff.
Okay.
But so if certain metrics are hit or whatever, we'll do certain things. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
So-
like with Pachaka on the road. I mean, he's a wanderer
Right.
type. You know, he lifted the pot of burning coals and got his tattoos, moved it to the side, and walked off into the snow.
in that magnificent 80s montage of action
Exactly.
martial arts movies.
So
yeah.
he's just going to wander, and if he stumbles across a mishap, he's not aware. He's been in a monastery for years, so he's just
Right.
He's got no military precision or years of knowledge or knowledge of the world and the wilderness and all that. So he's
he's been secluded
Yeah,
to what was his teachings at the
Yeah,
monasteries.
yeah.
Right. What do you, Haldra, think about having to travel? I mean, you're an aged man at this
Yeah.
point, and I mean, significantly smaller than the rest of the party. Obviously, you'll keep up or whatever. But
Right on his shoulders.
what's Haldra's thoughts of having to travel? I mean, it's 3 or more days from the north gate of Dusk Hollow to where you have to go in Ralderain.
I feel like my character's already made his rounds around the world, so traveling is not something I'm opposed to or haven't done to great length already.
Right.
So no, it's just kind of I accept it as another adventure. I'm curious of what Joffrey has in mind,
Right.
figuring out what the heck he's trying to do all this for, and trying. My goal is to put the pieces together to figure out whether I need to step in between him and what's going on, or support him, or just sabotage.
Right.
Oh, that's definitely like my checklist is like, is there anything I could do to make this go well enough to be accepted, but
Like
not so well?
Knowing he's dangerous,
Yeah.
knowing that he's
Well,
got a
thinking
tight
he's
grip on.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Thinking he's dangerous. You
Yeah.
don't know that he's dangerous. He's never caused any of you harm that you know of.
But he's not necessarily done us, any favors either.
He's giving you a job.
I'm getting
Bought
paid.
you, yeah. Getting that money, got free food, got free gear. So far, you're up 100%. What does Alana feel about having to travel? So you're going to travel far north along the Silverian River, close to the Arvindale Woods.
For my character, I know she's going to be excited. This is her first adventure, so there's probably going to be lots of random stops and slightly nervous about maybe hitting the woods.
Okay.
This is her territory we're sort of going into.
Yeah, so if you cross the Silverian River, that's all owned by the different elven governments
Yeah.
through there. So once you cross the Silverian River, that's kind of the border that separates the elven lands from this mainland here. And Dusk Hollow is kind of its own city-state and has a large reach. I think the map I have outlined the different borders. And if you look compared to the rest of the world, Dusk Hollow's take is much higher than full races that have been around forever.
Right. No, I mean, I can't speak for your character, but I would figure that as an elf, she's going kind of home in a sense, but it's not home because her actual home, based on what little knowledge we have, is not in the greatest shape.
Well, for my character, she's a wood elf, so
Right.
most elves are like, I am the peasant of elves.
Yeah. High elves look at you like I'm related to that. Like,
Right. Cool. So I wanted to hit, because in session 0 we had talked about when you first come into the city, and I know on the spot, first time D&D, we wanted to introduce our characters. So Buchaka, we're going to start with you. And if you would so kindly, as I zoom in on... Oh, wrong way.
zoom in on me.
Bloop, 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 bloop. Zoom in on you here. Why don't you give us a description of... God. So the image is flipped in here. I'm having a hard time.
Rookie.
Processing.
Buchaka physically,
Okay.
and then also a little bit of the backstory that you're willing to share about Buchaka.
All right. So, my name is Tim. I play. Chaka is a bugbear monk. He is 7 feet tall, 325 pounds. He's got abilities in stealth and fitting into areas smaller than himself.
Yeah.
He as a child. Do you want me to go to the backstory?
Yeah, whatever amount of backstory you're willing to share with everybody.
Okay,
So
okay.
what you would consider that you would maybe in sitting in the bar with these people have talked about that isn't giving away too much of yourself.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, again, 7 feet tall, 325 pounds, monk. He, as a child, grew up in a village of like non-aggressive beast, bugbear.
Mm-hmm.
And raiders, mercenaries came in, destroyed his village, killed his father in front of him, and took his mother. So he's not really sure where his mother is, if she's alive, dead, whatnot. So he scurried off as a small bugbear and found his way eventually to a monastery, and then sat on the steps of the monastery in true 80s kung fu theater style, waiting for the monks to let him in. And when they did, he went in and was taught the ways of being a monk and defense and meditation and spiritual connection with the deities and gods and stuff like that. And that's about where we're at when he left. So he spent 30 years. So he's a 40-year-old, which I think is a fairly young, probably 6 years in dog years, monk.
Yeah.
And then we got the Joffrey invitation, and then the Master Shen sent him off with a purpose, which we'll find out, I guess, later.
Yep.
And then, walks into this big city, and he doesn't know the ways of the world. He's been sheltered and all that. Not an idiot, not shy, but very naive in the ways of the way the world works. And
Which we found out early on in session 0 with
Yeah,
the
he-
young boy in the alley.
he was baited into the alley without question. I'm going to go take care of him. Alignment, care.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. He's lawful neutral, so he's not good, evil, but he's also, sits, thinks about the situation at hand, and then if it's, he'll step in when he feels somebody's wronged or whatnot, and all that. So
Do you think Buchaka, even with his traveling mates, if one of his traveling mates was doing something he felt was wrong, would Buchaka interact that way with them and going, "Hey, I know we've been traveling together. Say it's a year down the road.
yeah,
This is too far, man. Would still
I think he would attempt to stop his companion, discuss maybe the rights and wrongs of it, and just try and guide them towards a lawful solution to
Right.
the problem that they're interacting with.
okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
I don't think he would shy away from that. As of yet, we are not a group of friends.
Right.
You know, we are a group of companions who need
Coworkers.
Co-workers, yeah,
Yeah.
who need to get to know each other, and you might be pulled towards one, repelled towards one. You make your friendships as you go along, just like you said, in the office.
Yep.
Same thing. So,
Fair enough.
yeah.
Nice. So, what do you think is? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase the question. What is Buchaka's greatest strength?
I think, God, that's a good question. I would have no idea. I think with the monk teachings, he would his like a sense of calm,
Yeah.
non-aggression, non-retreat
Right.
type. I think,
Which is the exact opposite of the normal mentality of a bugbear, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
So,
yeah.
Maybe a little
So
bit of compassion too.
I think stability,
Yeah.
like a core stability, and not just a primal rage.
Right.
Just to drag my knuckles and eat people.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Would you say that his biggest weakness then would be his naivety?
Yeah, he I feel that the character Buchaka would be, maybe people could take advantage of him due to the naivety. Again, baiting me into an alley. Who walks into a city and walks right into an alley?
Right.
Right.
So, and I thought that was fun that you kind of just rolled with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome, Tim. Thank you. So that was
Yeah.
Tim with Buchaka.
Yeah.
And now we have not that way. We're looking at the side of my face. We got Whitney. Hi, Whitney.
Hi. So I'm Whitney. I play Alana. She's a wood elf druid. Can't remember my height. She's taller than me though.
Yeah, it's 6'4".
6'4".
Oh my God,
I know, right?
you're almost as tall as me.
It's great. I get to play a tall person for once in my life.
Finally reached top shelf.
Yes,
Fine.
I can.
Without a step stool.
Hey, the magical step stool
I'm
is
right there
always
with you.
needed.
It's okay.
She's still gonna use one.
Out of habit.
I had a habit, no. She's
So,
tall.
Wood Elf Druid.
Yep. So
What do you look like?
I have like a lightish green color skin, long, dark, like blackish green hair.
Yep.
I usually wear it in a braid so it doesn't get tangled in all the stuff I'm tramping through. She would have on like a soft doe skin, like pants and a vest.
Yep.
And then, it's got her satchel. She's just kind of a rugged looking elf.
Nice. So, what about Alana's past are you willing to share with everybody?
I would say that I do come from a small village,
Yep.
as you guys all know,
In the Arvindale Woods.
in the Arvindale Woods.
Yep.
My sister and I were both orphans, so our parents were help building the wall. Is that the wall? What was it?
No. So,
It
your
was
parents were sent off to the front lines to defend the elven territory.
Yeah.
And then they never came home. Yeah.
wrong storyline.
That's okay.
Sorry, too
It's
many
okay.
characters.
It's okay.
But yeah, no, she was orphaned, so the entire community basically raised them. So like everybody's like almost related. She's got a great compassion for the animals and nature. She really respects the ebb and flow of how things are in a natural realm.
Yep.
Loves to look at like plants that are considered dangerous and try to find a purpose for them. It's like, oh, it's a poisonous mushroom. Yes, it'll kill you, but can it do something more?
Okay. So, when you traveled into Dusk Hollow for the first time, something happened. You were investigating some trees, sickly trees that you're just like, these trees are underkept and just death stalks. But what happened as you were investigating the trees and decided to walk towards town? Or walk towards the tower, sorry.
So for my initial character, she was one in awestruck because it's a big city, but two, the trees being that the way they are was not natural, and it caused concern because
Yeah.
since she does care so much about nature.
Right. But
And-
another unnatural thing happened.
So I was upset, but you can't do that in town.
No, your dagger.
Oh, the dagger, yeah. Did move, which was unusual. I'm not
So
going to
what
say
in
too
that
much.
moment? So Alana, you said, straightened it out and kind of held it because it wasn't forcing itself back up, but it was wanting to still point back towards the tower that you had to go to. So, and in that moment, what were Alana's thoughts?
One, curious because of what, without divulging too much, like what the dagger means to me
Yep.
and its past. So it was also nerve wracking because it's got a past with it, and it shouldn't be doing that necessarily, but it could also lead for hope as well. So it's kind of like a both hope and what are you doing?
Right. And what did you think about Joffrey knowing you?
That was nerve wracking as well because he shouldn't. I'm from nowhere. I'm a nobody. He shouldn't know all the information he
And
does.
then telling you went on a mission for him before.
Yeah, that was weird. So, and how he knows all that is not normal.
Okay.
He's got spies.
Unsettling.
All right. So we're gonna move
Or influence.
to Grunin. I'm skipping over you because yours is the longest with the most time.
Oh,
Because you're so damn old. So we have Andrew.
Yep, my name's Andrew. I play Grunin Noblefinger. I'm a barbarian dwarf, half dwarf, half dwarf, yeah, half human. For that, most of my features as a dwarf stuck around, except the one feature is that I'm taller than the average dwarf, which still isn't very tall. It's still shorter than both of your characters.
Really don't think you should be complaining about being short around Haldra.
I see it. We're going based on height, tallest to shortest.
No, youngest to oldest.
Sure. He's got grayish skin because he is from the mines, so he doesn't get out much out of the mines, but he did have some combat experience, and as such, through combat experience, he has some battle wounds, so his body is scarred up, cut up, where arrows hit, axe hits, etc. So he does have that. He has a very long reddish beard that comes down pretty far that he just kept growing. Has saw no purpose in cutting it. One thing that he holds on to and he holds close, but not necessarily close to his hands, is a dagger that he has tucked in his boot at all times. That comes from the events of the war that he was in battle. His very last battle, where he had assumedly had won, but events would cause things to go a different direction.
Right. So Grunin being this warrior, probably a celebrated warrior, then I would imagine.
Yeah, he was a celebrated warrior. The achievements were well known for what it was. It's very much like the odds were against him and still managed to come out ahead. And every aspect is like, that shouldn't have happened. There's no way you should have succeeded. But that wasn't to the achievements of just Gruden himself, but to the allies he had with him that helped partake of those battles.
Okay. Fair enough. What else from your backstory do you want to share with people?
Most of my backstory is pretty well tied to a very critical, pivotal moment, so I don't want to share too much until that moment shows itself within the story.
Okay.
Because...
Yeah. Yep. Nope. I get it. One part that I'm going to go ahead and interject in on your backstory is, so there was a very lady that wouldn't. So you know Thorin Blackfoot or Black Grit. Sorry, Black Grit. How do you know Thorin Black Grit?
I know Thorin Blackgrit because in the final battle that I mentioned earlier, he had actually shown up to provide support as a cleric to heal the wounded and we saw him coming. And I've known him before because he's done this before in the past. But in this particular moment, the events that turned it, he actually saw what had happened despite all the rumors that had spread. So
Right.
he was just a battle ally
Right.
through the wars.
And then you worked with him.
And I worked with him as a mercenary after I got out. And he's like, "Hey, I got gigs for you." I'm like, "Perfect." It gets something off my mind that I can focus my attention to something else.
And then he ultimately got you the in with the relic acquisition
Yep.
department of the Crimson Vault.
Yep. And that's how I know him, because I see him get me there. And of course, I would assume at some point in time we would cross paths here and there.
Right.
It's like, "Hey, how's things going?"
Speaking of that, so speaking of how are things going, you got to see Thorin in Session 0.
Yep.
Which is live everywhere, by the way, on our Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify. You got to see Thorin Blackgrit, and he didn't look good.
No.
So Grunen's seeing this sullen Gary Busey face and this kind of sickly body. He wasn't wearing his armor, which is not like Thorin. His sword hand was trembling, which is always steady like a rock. And there was gray in his always dark black hair. Like, what was going through Grunen seeing really his last friend in such a state?
It was a lot of concern, but also the concern had to be held back because everything up to that point led me to believe that I shouldn't press the issue too much because I didn't want to cause further or potential further
Right.
harm to Thor. Because I don't want him to become worse. I want to help him,
Right.
which is why I went in for the whisper, for the handshake to kind of like, "Hey, I'm still here for you."
Right.
And then, of course, I got the note from him in secret.
Right. And that note still is secret. No one, you didn't divulge
I did
that
not
note
divulge
to
that
anyone yet.
secret yet. No.
Okay. Cool. So, yeah.
And potentially, we don't know he has that note.
No.
Yeah, no, you guys don't know he has that note. Just like none of you know, I read the missives out loud because watching you guys read stuff for 5 minutes isn't great TV, right? So I read them aloud. You only know what's in your missive, what task was given to you. And that also lets for role play in session 1 as you're traveling down the road. Hey, what's Joffrey got you? Why,
Yeah.
So,
Day one will be a lot of disclosure,
yeah, getting to know.
investigation.
Yeah. So, what was going through Grunen's head when Joffrey said, "I'm putting you in charge, but I don't want failure like your last failure"? Like, what was Grunen dealing with in that moment? One, these people don't know who you are and what your last failure was, but he's calling you out right off the chute.
As our leader.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of it is, I wouldn't say expected, but definitely a sense of, okay, he obviously knows of my past achievements, but that also means he knows my biggest failure,
Right.
which is both frustrating for me because it wasn't my fault,
Right.
but it's clear that he knows something that I don't, and I don't like that. Which
Okay.
is also the same reason why I was going around town going like, "What do you know?"
Right.
I want to know why he knows all this.
Yeah, and so you met, in that going around town, you met a high elf. I don't have my notes in front of me. We
I think
gave
it's
him
like Thorin or Theron or something.
Theron. Theron. So you met the high elf Theron, and you were able to chit-chat with him, small talk, but the second you tried to breach the subject of,
The Dark Tower. And
yep, all that stuff, he shut down and was like, it point blank just told you, "I won't talk about this. It could cause jail or imprisonment or death or whatever."
He already didn't really want to talk to you, but
yeah, he's like,
Yeah. Yeah,
He's
an
like, "Okay, you're
uppity
talking
high
about-
elf.
you're gonna push buttons. Okay.
So there was a moment you missed an opportunity in the bar. Do you remember that?
yes, there was a perception check that you had me roll,
Mhm.
and I rolled a 3.
Right, right. God, I love perception checks. I hope that you guys allow for that perception check to affect you later. So it's an ongoing thing. I think so. I know I'm zoomed in on Andrew right now, but Tim, you noticed something in the hall.
Yeah, my monastery's symbol,
Yep.
but it was really like, why is it in this dark tower? Why is it uncapped? Why is it dilapidated? You know, so
And why does it look? What was the word I used? Corrupted.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then Ilana. Is that the right way? It is. You noticed something in the room as well. What did you notice when you first walked into the Crimson Vault?
It was the sense of flowers.
No.
Pollen.
Specifically pollen.
Pollen.
A pollen that you recognized, but you couldn't place it.
Yeah.
So you passed a perception check with a 13, which those are on the side panel.
Side panel. Still
All
learning.
those different checks. You passed a nature check with a 13, which was high enough to get you to notice that was a pollen you recognized, but nothing more. Nice. What's up, Tan Boy? Recently birthday boy.
We sing happy birthday.
We got absolutely not.
We'll hold. We'll hold on
Oh.
that.
We're past it.
So you're Brandon,
Yes. That is my name.
and take it from there, Brandon.
I'm Brandon. I'm kind of doing the AV stuff from here, so we're still kind of fine tuning what we're doing. So I have my computer monitoring stuff. So ignore that. But I am playing Huldra, a gnome, a forest gnome artificer.
Which is quickly becoming the bane of my existence.
Yeah. I'm bombarding him with backstories.
Which is fine. Which is fine. Because I don't have to accept them. I'll read them and
Great thing.
I'll put pieces in there, right? Like, that's the whole thing about this, like, community-driven story is I might be like, I don't want to put that whole thing as canon, but this is cool. We're going to pull this out. We're going to pull that out. Everybody's voice spreads the story, right?
Yeah. No, and I'm definitely not doing it to influence the story
No, I
or
know you're
whatever. Most of mine is just I play my character is old. Like I'm not sure how much I want to divulge on how old it, but like
Age is just a number, baby.
Age
If you
is just
feel
a
like
number.
you want to give it, you can give it. Because I'm sure people are going to ask in session 1.
yeah. No, so I'm playing a forest gnome artificer. We started at level 3, so I guess I can add in. I'm taking the battlesmith tier
Right.
with this. So it's interesting. I chose artificer because I had other friends that played D&D, and in the group that we were involved with, they were like, you know what, just for shits and giggles, like I'm gonna take everybody in our group, and I'm going to, if you played D&D, this is what I imagine your character was, and I got tossed the artificer, and I was like, well, I gotta Google this now, and I was like, oh, okay, this could be fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I'm trying to take a different approach based off of all the videos that I've
Yeah.
seen on it. We're homebrewing mostly aesthetic things.
Yep.
So,
What does Huldra look like?
currently where we're at now in this Kronos and Kin Velkarth situation for Joffrey, I am 2 foot tall. So, I've got, let's see, my alignment, I'm generally neutral good.
Mm-hmm.
I think mostly that comes with his age. Like I'm not gonna take sides because sides creates conflict, and at that point I just feel like I've seen everything. Like there's a bigger picture
Right.
here that we move on to. But 2 foot tall, small, hair medium length, gray brown. Again, wood elf, so I'm going to be
Forest.
or
gnome.
like earthing or forest gnome.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Nope, you're okay.
forest gnome. More earthy colors for my attire and stuff.
You
I'm
can
not.
check it. You're not on camera. Sorry.
No, I'm not really concerned about keeping up an image per se. Like, I live a comfortable life. I'm no need to be extravagant or under
Mhm.
like dilapidated stuff like that. So,
Nice.
You could build a huge small mansion.
Yeah.
So
Sleep in it.
you came into town, and we talked about this earlier, but you
Yeah.
came into town and saw the main doors of the vault is one made from an alloy that you should be the only one left that knows about, but you actually physically made these
Those
doors.
Yeah.
And they're in this vile city owned by this guy you have zero respect or care for,
Yeah.
which was shown by the way you communicated with him. He was very offended. I was offended. I felt like I was Joffrey in that moment, and I just got told to sit the fuck down. So, which is always great, right? Like,
Yeah.
you want those interactions.
Yes.
Going into this, seeing his creations used for someone he doesn't respect and shouldn't have them, which means they were acquired in less than honest ways. And then telling you, which you know, but the narrative could be that you didn't screw that experiment up.
No.
Connection issue on the live there. We're good now.
Okay.
So they came from a time that he shouldn't know about and a
Yeah.
place he shouldn't know about, because this is a forgotten place. This place no longer exists as far as normal man knows of it.
Technically, my existence over the millennia should have come in and out. I shouldn't really be known about either.
Right.
Because, but the early years where those doors came from, I did the typical artificer thing. I was the steampunky build mechanical, do it for not necessarily for fame or fortune, but the advancement in my knowledge and stuff like that. So it was a whole different lifetime, but to see that, especially in a completely different place in
Right.
the world, was a little off-putting.
Nice. So there was one scene in the tavern where you ordered a sippy cup of beer,
That was
and
a
then
joke.
and then also
It's canon.
Yep.
it's canon now. I
It's
wrote it. I
canon.
wrote it in the session 0 logs that you ordered a sippy cup. But then, so after the tiefling that was serving you had left for the night, you quite literally climbed on top of the bar to have an eye-to-eye conversation with Buchaka.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember correctly, the conversation was one of not trusting Joffrey. Did that sway you in one way or the other to actually go have that meeting you had in session 0, which your characters know nothing about the contents of that meeting? You just know that he took off for a while.
Well, I wouldn't have known because I was still at the bar talking.
Yeah.
No, that
he was
you
in a
had come
different
back.
part.
Oh, I had to come back.
You had come back from the bar, and then
Oh, that's right.
everybody was going to bed, and Buchak was leaving, and you said that you wouldn't, like, you don't know what was in his manifest and what Joffrey may have asked him to do.
Yep.
No, like I personally enjoyed that a fellow companion that he doesn't know wanted a direct interaction with him. So he enjoyed that interaction, but it was the presence in the alley where the guy pretty much put his hand on my back and said, "I can crush you." Or he didn't say that, but I
Okay.
felt that he could crush me.
Yep.
So I felt that that was the draw to see, like, why did priest take interest in me, and why? I mean, we're both from monasteries, churches, whatever. But that was really what pushed me to go finalize that meeting.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did Haldra have motive when talking with Buchaka, or do you think Haldra was just being Haldra and questioning everything?
My character's background is more I'm taking the haunted one.
Mm-hmm.
So like I keep to myself. Like people can know that I can kind of tell in my initial interactions that I've seen shit, and like most of the time I come off as generally, or I try to generally trustworthy. I don't give off that shouldn't trust this guy vibe, even
Mhm.
though I'm quiet. I'm just I take my time and strategically try and assess when is the right time to divulge information about
Right.
myself
Right.
and about what I know to other people. Because I know, again, over my life, I've seen knowledge given too soon
Right.
and fail. I've seen knowledge given too late and fail. I've seen knowledge given that was completely wrong
Right. Right.
and stuff. So my interaction with Buchaka was just, I could tell, just like a fellow quiet guy, just sitting there, just taking in what's going on.
Right.
And like, you know, being a monk, I just like, hey, I know Joffrey has something on you, just like he has something on everybody all the time.
General
Right.
curiosity.
He's collecting relics, and relics aren't the only thing he's collecting. He's collected over his lifespan. So
Nice. Who do you guys think is the first person you're going to interact with, like in a major interaction that you interacted with Session 0? Again, like who's the next big guy?
Maid.
She's more of a secretary. I know I said house servant, but this is a business, more of a secretary or a coordinator, if you will.
corporate services.
Right.
Probably Claude.
You think Claude?
Yeah, because he's like usually at the entry.
That's probably
of
more of a
things.
you thing for sure. You want to help him. But your kind-natured healing.
He needs water.
He seems like he needs a day off.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Well, maybe he enjoys it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think on day one of session one, I think we'll be venturing off, and I think I think the major portion of that session will be a group interaction of, like, you know, I don't know if we'll get a one-off interaction with somebody if we're like all just traveling together. So be kind of like a collective discussion about, you know, just kind of pulling apart the layers and like who really
Yeah,
are
and that's kind of what I'm hoping for is
Yeah.
that first day out, you're close enough to the city where danger's not lurking around every corner, right? And
Yeah.
that first day of travel.
Yeah.
And so kind of that Lord of the Rings, jumping down the road,
Yeah.
kind of chit-chatty thing is kind of what I have planned for that day
Yeah.
one for you guys.
Pull
is
out the
to,
cask of wine, take a sip.
Yeah,
and
I want
pass
you
it.
guys. I want you guys to have the freedom to not worry about the DM. Like if you guys take like a conversation too far, or take a perception that you have of a situation to a point that that's never where it's going to go. I'll go no. So it could have been this way, but it's more like this. But I don't want it to. I want to be the DM that lets you guys build the story just as much as I've built the story,
Yeah.
and hope that your interactions and your choices lead to fun stuff for me to try to kill you.
Yeah.
I know Grunin specifically is more fearful now because of the situations that has happened to him, being put back in charge. Now, all the memories of his past are starting to come back and going, I'm in charge. I got to get these people, I got to get this group somewhere safe. Last time I thought I did, but then
This happened.
this happened.
Right.
And knowing full well I'm going through an area where this could happen, I think my character is going to be a little bit more
Hyper focused.
hyper-focused, less chatty, more observant of his surroundings to make sure that nothing happens
Nice.
again.
How about you?
Don't have very good people skills, so I'm figuring I'm gonna mess up or ask inappropriate questions of my lovely road companions.
Hey, you know what? They're only inappropriate if everybody thinks they're inappropriate.
Ah.
So,
Well, I imagine he'd be semi-curious too, being he's just a curious character.
I'm kind of the only beast in the group. So,
Well, that kind of ties into her druid powers too.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yes.
animal handling.
animal speech.
animal handling, I want to ride him.
I
Right.
don't know if any of you guys actually speak any common languages amongst each other besides common. You do?
Sylvan.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So,
Elvish, dwarfish.
Yeah, that also adds to that conversation stuff too, where you could be able to speak to one person in their native tongue a little bit and have a private conversation. Obviously, they're going to be sitting there, but again, player knowledge versus character knowledge type thing. So, you guys excited for Saturday? So we're filming Saturday.
Saturday.
Yes.
Excited. I've been amped all week. I'm disappointed. I'm glad that we got to move it in and not struggling with scheduling.
Yep.
But the one mini I wanted to get in won't be in on time. And it's a pivotal mini, so I'm going to substitute in something.
Well, we have tinfoil, right?
Yeah. We have Tim Foil.
This bottle of whatever is this monster or whatever.
Yeah.
Huh.
If this bottle of monster
it's
is
just,
the monster.
It's just one that it's going to be a common occurrence, I hope.
Okay.
Maybe not. Maybe you guys don't take the choices to make it a common occurrence.
Right on.
But so that's my only thing I'm kind of bummed about.
Yeah.
But so I'll do a full session recap on Saturday morning while we're recording, just to remind everybody what had happened and remind all of you what had happened with my clip
Previous
notes.
episode recap.
Last time on Kronos and Kid. Yeah. And Buchaka went, ah! for 15 minutes. And while he charged up, his hair went from brown and red to yellow
to Super Saiyan.
to Super Saiyan Gold.
Well, there's that whole session. See you next session.
Is him standing there screaming for 2 hours.
Next time on
now we need to take it down for
C&K.
copyright.
We're just like, oh.
The C&KE experience.
Awesome. Well, I think that's it for tonight. I know we didn't want to do too long, just a couple hours. We had a team meeting, like I said before this, and wanted to go live and really introduce the team because right now the face of it was my face, which is not good for anybody.
It's just your face.
It's just my face.
Gotcha.
Don't be going 50% of your face is my face.
It's something like 25.
50.
You may want to think harder on that, Andrew.
Just like it's flat Earth, I'm sticking to this one.
Oh, don't
Oh
even
my
start
goodness,
that.
It is flat.
No.
It says it in the Bible. That's another TikTok meeting for another day. So, at least for me, I want to thank everybody for coming in and watching. And this is your team: Tim, Whitney, Brandon, Andrew, Grunin, Pauldra, Ilana, and Buchaka. We'll have our next episode out in a few weeks. Thanks, you guys, for watching, and goodbye. I don't know how to end this. End live.